What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in. This video is going to be very controversial for many different reasons, and it's funny because in my last video, I was talking about how controversial my channel is, and that's because I'm not going to portray something that it's not. If the silver market isn't always rainbows and unicorns, I'm not going to portray it that way. I'm going to cover articles like this. How 4 charts show why silver's surge is set to fade. How by next year, the price could actually be dramatically lower even than it is now. I'm going to talk about this stuff and for a couple different reasons. One, if they make some good points, then I'll talk about it. But two, if they are exaggerating, especially with forecasts or price predictions, which I'll talk about in a second. Two, I'm gonna look at both sides of the coin, pun intended. But I really want to just see what they're trying, the message they're trying to get across, especially since they are talking about charts and how charts moving forwards into 2022 as they get into could be any type of relevancy that has to do with today. But even if this entire article is correct, I wouldn't be bothered by it. I would actually be somewhat relieved and happy because all that means is I can buy silver for cheaper. I mean, the only reason this would affect you negatively if this did happen is if you're planning on selling next year. But if you're not planning on selling for 5, 10, 15 years, then why in the world would you be worried or mad that the price is lower? If you're going to the store to buy a pair of shoes and the shoes are on sale, aren't you happier? But if the shoes are marked up 10% from the week before, aren't you mad? I mean, unless, and here's the second reason besides selling that people would be mad or worried, is if they don't have faith in silver. A lot of people need validation. They need confirmation that silver can rise. We all know it can. It was $50 not even 10 years ago. 10 years ago, 2011, silver was $50. And in 1980, it was $50. And the things that pushed silver to $50 back then were nowhere near as extreme or going to be as extreme as, as back then. So when these types of articles come out, I hope you guys don't second guess yourself saying, oh, well, was silver a good idea? Because look, even in my last video, there's no way anyone can debate any other type of, or even try to push any other type of investment in front of me saying that it has, as much potential or opportunity as silver. There's nothing. I could tell you 10 different reasons why silver is extremely bullish over the next 10 years and 10 reasons why stocks are extremely bearish over the next 10 years. And try to flip that script and come up with some good, valid points to prove me wrong, but I bet you can't. Moving forwards, everything that's pegged to the dollar, including stocks, is going to fall, crash, burn. It's like switching seats on the Titanic. It's all going down. So if you know what or where the future is going or headed, and you know how that affects each investment, then how in the world anyone looking forward that's investing into stocks or saying silver is a bear market or a bad investment can think logically about that? You can't. It's either denial, it's some type of ego, or just delusional. Seriously, to some extent. I mean, we all know where the economy's headed, and we know how that affects each investment. And gold and silver is the only thing that's looking like it's going to be benefiting from that. But anyways, I just wanted to throw that in there in the beginning because I know a lot of people are newer and they'll see an article like this and be very worried. But trust me, if you are investing into precious metals for anywhere longer than 5 years, then trust me, this you'll look back at this article and laugh your ass off. Not even kidding, right? I'm not even kidding. But anyways, I do want to see what they have to say, make some points, and yeah. So I'm doing a 50K giveaway. Make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell. You don't want to miss it. The entry video is open. So the metal is poised for the first monthly advance since May. Alongside gains in gold are concerns that power shortages and supply chain snarl will keep inflation persistently high. the Federal Reserve has indicated it's likely to start reducing bond purchases to tame price pressures, which could diminish silver's appeal. And by the way, let me say something else. Price forecasts and predictions are very, very wishy-washy. It's a prediction because you're predicting something, but are predictions always correct? No. Especially when it comes to the investment world, and especially when you're living in a time like this where things flip at the snap of a finger. Look at forecast, the word forecast, the weather forecast. Are they usually correct? No. A wrench could get thrown in and throw everything off. See, you can't predict the future. You don't have a crystal ball. So do you think any of the price forecasts or predictions from 2019, right before this global situation happened, do you think any of those forecasts for the year 2020 were correct or even somewhat correct? No, because nobody had an idea, a clue that a global situation, quote unquote, would break out. Lots of different times things have happened, and especially in today's time, anything and stuff will get thrown in that will change, that will flip the script entirely. So these are just forecasts, and I still don't see, especially what you're about to read and what I'm about to read in a second, can be accurate. So Fed tapering and potentially lower inflation expectations, the easing of this virus has triggered supply chain woes, and uncertainty over how the power crunch this winter could impact the energy transition will have a negative impact on silver, according to Akash Dashi, analyst at Citigroup. And Citigroup was one of the people actually that were, it was Bank of America, Saxo Bank. They were all predicting $50 to $100 silver by the end of the year. But whether or not China has a soft landing from its current energy crisis will also be crucial to silver's price outlook, as the metal is more leveraged to manufacturing activities there, Doshi added. The bank forecasts silver to average between $19 and $20 an ounce next year, from on average $25 this year. So a lot lower. And if it gets into the teens, it could, who knows how low it could go, because by that time people will be panic selling left and right. It could just be all bad. But really not bad. But, for people that are looking to sell next year or need that confirmation, that validation, it could be bad. In the second half of 2020, on potential outflows from silver-backed exchange-traded funds, and this is spot silver slipped 0.9%. Still, silver's other role as a key commodity in solar panels and electronics is likely to buoy prices over the longer term. And there we go. Medium, or the short to medium term, and quote-unquote medium term being like the next year, things could get, if theoretically speaking this happens, could get sticky. Industrial use probably reached a record high this year. And that's according to London-based research firm Metals Focus, which actually in this PDF from the Silver Institute I'll be making a separate video on this. The Silver Institute is the holy grail of information. Anyone who gets their data, their numbers, comes from the Silver Institute, and they talked about, they just published today or yesterday a huge thing about silver and the demand, supply, all that. But anyways, in the long term, there is a positive trend in demand as the world moves into carbon neutrality. So this means a lot more silver is likely going to be used than it was before. And that's obvious. I mean, we're advancing into a new digital era. But anyways, here are 4 charts to watch. So silver has had a rocky year. Retail investor buying frenzy in February sent prices to an almost 8-year high as it became the focus on a Reddit forum, Wall Street Silver. But those gains have steadily eroded, and the metal is now down about 9% in 2021, making it one of the worst performing major commodities. And that's actually really funny, because in 2020, silver was the number 1 performing asset. It beat everything. Tesla stocks, Amazon, it beat gold. I think gold was number 5. Silver was literally the number 1 performing asset in 2020. And that's an actual number, not second place. Silver was the number 1. But nobody talked about it. If you don't watch my channel, you probably didn't ever hear that, because if it would have been Tesla or something, there would have been articles published everywhere. But since it was silver, everyone kept their mouth shut. But anyways, in the short term, the strong energy prices and tightness in supply-demand balances in oil, gas, petroleum markets are bullish for silver as they'll buttress macro investor flows into commodities for inflation hedge purposes. But Fed policymakers who have described the recent rise in inflation as largely transitory are widely expected to announce plans to begin scaling back their bond purchases following their meeting next week. Although Federal Chairman Jerome Powell made clear that central banks will remain patient on raising interest rates. Meanwhile, European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde acknowledged price pressures will last longer than anticipated. So at least there is some truth coming out. And then you have investment demand. Retail investment remains strong, especially in the U.S. and Germany, said Philip Newman. And that could help offset reduced institutional investor interest. Holdings in silver-backed ETFs have dropped from an all-time high earlier in 2021, although they remain elevated compared with previous years. And obviously, they were earlier this year. They're going to be a lot higher than they are now because there was so much hype. But that's not a point to make moving forwards. Still, investor demand for silver could rebalance moving into 2022 if growth stagnates amid high inflation. And then the technical signals, and they're looking at, all this stuff. So I don't want to get into the technicals because that's really just irrelevant. But silver's overall outlook will ultimately depend on global recovery from the pandemic, monetary policy, and gold's path. And they just hit the nail on the head. So looking at what silver's price is going to be affected upon is futuristic. A forecast or a prediction really is just, I can't think of the phrase right now, but it's just, it's speaking into thin air. I mean, you take it for what it is, but what we know and the information given to us, and especially the direction of the dollar and what silver, quote unquote, should be getting fulfilled with the Green New Deal, which I'm going to make a video about that probably in a couple days, maybe tomorrow, because the Green New Deal is a good thought. Every company switching to an electric vehicle is a good thought, but there simply isn't enough silver for that to happen. And I was going over an article this morning, where the guys were saying anyone who thinks that the Green New Deal, we're going to, the whole world's going to have solar panels, and they're silly because there simply is not enough silver for this to happen. And I mean, it was a very good point, and I do want to cover an entire video over that. But regardless, we are going to be needing a lot of silver. But they do believe several risks still exist. The potential for new waves of the virus, ongoing supply chain disruptions, and rising energy prices, all of which could undermine economic growth prospects. This, in turn, could result in equities correction, the benefit of gold, and by extension, silver. So, take it for what it is. They're saying silver could be $19 by 2022. And if that's true, then I'll be buying silver more than I ever would before. But the question is, what would the premiums do? Because premiums don't usually move with spot price. And that's one of the reasons why I love high premium silver, because it's detached from spot price. And I always used to say this on my channel. Let's say silver still is $20 in 20 years or 10 years. At least my pandas and kookaburras will still be appreciating. But if my entire stack is bullion, then it's basically pegged to the spot price. So if I have all generic silver and for some reason silver stays $20, in 20 years my stack will have appreciated $0 because it's pegged to spot price. But high premium silver isn't. So I guess we'll get a little taste of that theory if silver does stay $19 by next year, what the premiums would look like. And I guess that will be interesting. But regardless, I'm going to keep you guys updated whether the price is crashing or skyrocketing or staying the same. I'm always going to keep you in the loop here. When I say subscribe, it's not for my sake, it's for your own. I mean, I'm going to post daily videos updating you guys, which is important. And I also do lots of giveaways. So make sure you subscribe and go enter in that giveaway video, because every time I do it, there's people, because I usually do a premiere video where we can all kind of hang out and watch it together. I always see people in the live feed, the comment section, saying that they missed it, that they wish they would have saw it. And that's simply because they didn't click the bell and go to all. If you click the bell and click on all, you'll get notified for every video. But if you don't, then the notifications don't get posted all the time, and you might miss the video or miss the giveaway videos, or just an important video in general. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Let me know what you think about this. Does this worry you? Do you think this is just a whole bunch of nonsense? Do you think that this is possible? And if it is, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna buy more silver? Are you gonna, what are you gonna do? I would love for you to participate in these videos and share your 2 cents as well. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.